We're in the updated 2023 Jeep Compass. This is the red edition. It's got a lot of special things on it. But today we're going to talk about if it's worth the nearly $43,000 price tag affixed to it. The biggest change for 2023 with the Jeep Compass though is not on the inside, it's actually under the hood. So I'll meet you under the hood. If I can find the hood latch, there it is. So the outgoing model had a 2.4 liter naturally aspirated engine with a 9-speed transmission. This is completely new. And there's no longer a front wheel drive option. 4x4 is your only available option. This is the standard engine now, and it's better in every single regard. We have a 2-liter turbo. It's got about 25 horsepower more than the outgoing engine and about 50 pound-feet of torque more than the outgoing engine as well, while getting better fuel economy. So what we have is 200 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque. Like I said, exclusively all-wheel drive. 25 miles per gallon in the city is about what you're gonna see, maybe a little bit over 30 on the highway. Let's talk about the styling. For 2022, they updated the styling for the Jeep Compass, and that has carried over here. We have upgraded LED headlights, for example. This red edition, they teamed up with Project Red here to give us something unique. Completely redded out Jeep logo, which I don't think I've ever seen, even on the aftermarket. And we also have fog lights on this particular model. It's based off the Limited. And we also have 19-inch gray wheels here. Cass, what do you think about the wheels? How do you think it flows with the design?
Oh, they're awesome. They match.
I think they match. They look great. I don't like two-tone wheels that's machine finished. I just like how they're solid gray. They look good with the red. Also, we have Jeep Compass here on the side that's a little two-tone, black and then coated with the red. We have red mirrors as well on this model. Black roof rails and a nice glossy black window surround and like A and B pillars. So it looks very, I don't know, almost luxury-like, but you still have that cute like Jeep nature to it. It looks like a shrunken down Grand Cherokee, for example. When we get to the back here, we have upgraded taillights that happened in 2022. And you also have this little Jeep red logo down here.
Oh, it's so cute.
It's super cute. It reminds you that you're in something special, a little bit different that no other Jeep Compass is gonna have. And also this is red on the back as well. It looks very glossy, very premium. 4x4 is redded out as well, and you might not even notice it, but it's there. You also have parking sensors back here. Oh, this is kick sensitive, and there it goes. Sometimes cars don't allow you to open up the trunk with the kick sensor when the car's on. This one didn't have any issue doing that. So we have some booster seats in for the older kids in here, if you want to get closer. Now, it doesn't have, I would say, like the widest amount of cargo space, largely because this subwoofer, we'll talk more about the sound system in a little bit, but with the Alpine subwoofer, if you get close, Cass, you can see the little Jeep logo in here as well. Very cute. And we have a nice carpet here, feels very premium. And then even under that, if you don't get this Jeep carpet that's reversible, so you could have, you know, like the all-weather portion, which I would be doing, right? We love the all-weather mats, gotta have it. Underneath here is technically more storage because you have a fix-a-flat kit. There's a cutout for a spare tire, and you could probably put a spare tire in there, but this one doesn't come with it, unfortunately. You can fold down the rear seats, and here's the button to close the trunk. But before we do, we also have a little Jeep logo here. They're gonna be all throughout the car. I'm never gonna find all of them, but I keep finding them the longer I have this vehicle. But I'm gonna kick to close it. And there's also a 12 volt in there, and I just saw another Jeep logo down there as well. So they're just everywhere. So let's see what the kids are doing here in the back seat. And by the way, like these doors, and you also have that chime if you open and close the doors while the car's on. These doors feel so solid, very luxury-like with the heft. How they open, the handles feel very solid. There's nothing hollow sounding or feeling about them. Very impressive. Now,
can I also add, like,
yeah,
the paint doesn't feel, it feels very nice. Like sometimes paint feels really grainy on a car.
Yeah.
This one's nice. I mean,
I'm really impressed with the paint finish. Yeah. It feels great, it looks great, it's a high amount of gloss.
Right.
The orange peel, you see a little bit of it. I guess there's that, but that's because I'm in the shadow. So if you're out in the sunlight, this thing is gonna look radiant, look really, really strong. Okay, so the materials here, hard touch on the door sill, but we have nice stitching on the armrest area. Very soft, very comfortable for your arms. And if you come in, I'll just take the camera real quick. We have vents here for the kiddos, And we also have USB so they can charge their iPads back here. We have map packets on each side, and look at the nice foam insert. So very high quality here, soft. We also have stitching back here, and it's a good amount of legroom. It's not the most with these leather seats as well. It's comfortable for them, but you know, the kids don't get to experience that leather. But what they do get to experience is this amazing panoramic roof. It feels huge for a vehicle of this size. The kids absolutely adore it. First thing you notice are these pretty large and comfy high leather seats. This is the premium leather. They have a cloth and leather, and this is the top leather option here. I would have actually liked maybe a little bit more contrast with the stitching. It's almost like a copper. It just kind of fades into the background there. That would spruce up these seats a little bit. They have a very wide and long bottom to the bottom of the seat, which I appreciate with my long legs. So these seats have been very, very comfortable for me. On the dash, nice soft touch with the same brown stitching here. And this is got stitching as well, soft touch at the bottom or the top here. Nice wood material. But we have a chrome. I just feel like the chrome doesn't need to be there. It's blinded me a few times. We also have glossy black at the bottom of this touchscreen, which has blinded me a bit as well. Let's go ahead and sit on the inside and we'll talk more about the features here. Oh yeah, because it's so sunny down here and due to the interesting design, like there's plastic back here behind the soft part of the dash. Can you see it? Mm-hmm. This will reflect up onto the windshield and take up a good amount of your visibility. Interestingly, you're like, what are you talking about? Because you had your sunglasses on and that reflection completely disappears with sunglasses. I'm not a sunglasses person, so that reflection is pretty much there anytime the sun is up and you're in the sun. Right now we don't have it because we're in the shade. Beautiful 10-inch touchscreen. It is so fast and snappy. I really enjoy it. And not only that, like it's so easy to get into different areas. So just because you're in Android Auto doesn't mean that you're locked out and you have to go through menus to get back to the main menus. Sound system's right there. If you need to get to your heated and ventilated seats, just with a touch of a button, it's there. Yes, would I prefer hard touch buttons for that? Yes, but I was in the Ioniq 6 this week and you had to really fumble through the menus just to get to that. Here, it's just you press and press. It's that easy to get into it. Still, hard touch buttons would be better, but it's not bad. It's pretty functional. We also have a parking system in here. We're gonna turn this down a bit because, oh, that's my ventilated seat. The ventilated seats are pretty loud in here, so I'm going to turn that off. I don't need that. We're in the shade. You have a parallel and reverse parking system in here. I'm never going to use that. I'm not a big fan of that in any car. I'd rather park myself. That's just me. But you have that here if you want it. The lane keep system in here, so let's talk about the safety features. We do have radar cruise control and highway steering assist. I haven't played with it a whole lot, but in the limited amount, it's been pretty decent. Now we have a wireless charger down here, which Cass loves using with your iPhone. There's also USBs here for charging. You also have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. It's projecting from my phone in the fanny pack. You have a little switch down here for different driving modes. Auto is what I'm going to keep it on. Like I said, 4-wheel drive is your only option. But when you're in auto, it'll intelligently switch between front wheel drive and rear wheel drive, or should I say all wheel drive. But in snow mode and in sand and mud, it turns it into 4-wheel drive lock. The steering wheel is super comfy. It feels a lot like the Lexus RZ, which is a $60,000 to $70,000 vehicle. So it's the same material, I think. This is like a synthetic leather. It's super soft. It doesn't come close to the Lexus in terms of the stitching perfection, but in terms of just comfortability, it's there. It's very high quality. We also have a massive shifter in here. So let's talk about the ergonomics. I love this tiny but slidey armrest that allows me to keep my arm on the shifter. If this is back, it kind of slumps down. So I like how they give us that option to move it forward. And guess what? My hands are close to the volume knob here, tuning knob, the fan control, etc. And I can almost keep my arm on the armrest to play with the touchscreen. So like in terms of driver dynamics or driving comfort and ergonomics, it's all here. Behind the steering wheel is a fully digital screen. It gives you a good amount of information. I don't really play with it a whole lot. And unfortunately, like it has a big wow factor at first if you've never seen a digital screen, because there's a lot of information, lots of customization, but it's not very high resolution, and sometimes the text is kind of hard to read. This is 10 out of 10 in terms of quality, brightness, clarity, and this I would say is like a 4. The sound system in here from Alpine's, the first Alpine system I think I've ever heard in a car. It's amazing. It's not the loudest, but the sound quality is so good. The dash doesn't rattle. There's nothing, like, even though this is hard touch, I never hear any sort of rattling. And the sound, the bass is just so strong in it. Like, I'm very, very impressed with the Alpine sound system. So this is what I recommend, is that you get the Alpine sound system even on the lower grades, because it comes always optioned with this panel roof, and those are my two favorite features in this little Jeep Compass.
It's harder to film you though because it is such a compact
It's
car.
very small, yeah. No, it does.
Glued to the...
It doesn't feel that wide compared to like a CRV or a RAV4, but in terms of size, it's definitely a step down, closer to, you know, subcompact SUVs. Driving the refreshed Jeep Compass here. We got the kids loaded up. We're just finishing our swimming lessons this morning, so that was successful. And now we're enjoying the ride in this new Jeep. Or sure, I should say, it's not new, but all the enhancements to it from 2022 to 2023 have really done a lot for this Jeep. We know that the engine and the transmission are a big part of that, but even with these 19-inch wheels, I'm really surprised how smooth the ride is. Like, the suspension is great. When we get into this little turn here, the handling's nothing impressive, but it is fairly nimble. You do feel like you're pretty high up, and so you do have that kind of tipping feeling if you do push it kind of hard. But I just went over there's like a sinkhole. We have sometimes sinkholes in our streets in Florida, and like, it did it really fine. There's no rattling or creaking. The suspension did a really great job, almost luxury quality, I would say, when it comes to the suspension. And then when we get to drive it as well, we've noticed that it's also very, very quiet. So Cass, you've been in this vehicle a little bit. What is your initial impressions in terms of just being the passenger, and you move this around the driveway a little bit as well? So tell me what your limited time impressions are with the Jeep Compass.
I like it. It's very unassuming. It's not aggressively designed in any way. It's very approachable.
Yes.
I got in and I was like, okay, this is not a car that I need to figure everything out, because I already know intuitively what everything is and how it works.
Right.
So that's really nice. A lot of cars are, I think, personally, I'm not very techie, are not very approachable nowadays, but this one was.
Yeah, this is my first Jeep I've had on the channel, and getting in here, there was like no learning curve at all. I love the volume knob, the tuning knob here as well. The climate control is really easy to work with. This touchscreen is so fast and responsive. Like, pulling down this menu, here's your heated and ventilated seats. You can easily just press this button at any time. And it's been a pleasure with how fast it is too, and how easy it is to get into Android Auto. It's wireless in here. So like, one of the best, I would say, touchscreen experiences I've had in a long time. And you have a little shelf here if you need to stabilize your fingers. So the ergonomics all the way around are really solid here. You also have buttons on the back of the steering wheel to control your volume and your tuning, as well as presets. So like, if the buttons up here aren't enough, you have some additional ones in the back. I do like having the volume knob here instead of using the one back here. It's just a little bit easier for me to accurately change the volume. But like, as we're driving at 6'1", I have tons of headroom, even with this massive panel roof. Like, my elbows fall really naturally onto the armrest, the adjustable armrest here. Like, and it's very soft and comfy. The seats, I do feel like I'm kind of sitting on top of. They don't have a lot of give to them. But Cass, what is your comfort level like?
I mean, as a passenger, I think it's really nice.
Do you have power seats?
Yes, I have power seats, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Like, no massaging seats, but that's okay.
Right, and if it was just the two of us driving this car, we have memory seats here for the driver.
Nice. Oh, cool.
So we've never had that luxury in our cars yet, but like,
no personal car.
I know that would be something we would be interested in the future, and this car has it on this grade.
Right. It's nice. I feel comfortable. I feel relatively tall, but not very tall, but it's okay. It's not a tall car.
I'm going to get in the brakes here. And there's an initial bite, and then it gets kind of soggy after that. But here's the thing. It's not a performance car. I have no issue stopping this car smoothly. Here, I'm going to get into the gas. So with this new 2-liter turbo, my foot's about 3/4 down, and there's also a weird period because like the last 25% of the pedal, I feel like the pedal moves when nothing else happens. But like the first 50 to 75%, the pedal is great, and you get tons of responsiveness from this turbocharged engine. So you got lots of torque for around town. Like, I feel like this is perfect amount of power and torque for city driving. And this 8-speed auto, there's been weird times, I guess, before like the engine's heated up, it seems like before things are like at their normal operating temperature, that it lurches at low speeds and just kind of like coasting. And sometimes it's not the smoothest when decelerating, but overall, like I haven't had any major issues with it. And I'd say it's perfectly acceptable for a vehicle of this class. But even more so, I feel like the power and the torque are if not on par, maybe even better than a lot of its competitors out there. Fuel economy, you've been getting anywhere from 25 to around 30 miles per gallon in town. It just depends on how hard I'm working the AC, really. Like it's not that hot right now, so I'm getting over 30, but yesterday in the heat of the day it was closer to 25. And like most modern cars, this has a stop start feature, which is very easy to disable with this button, but it actually hasn't bothered me unless it's in the heat of the day and I want the AC to be cold and pumping hard. But the engine turning on and off, you notice it, but it's not jarring, doesn't shake the whole car, and it does it very quietly as well. Also, something when it comes to the smoothness of this vehicle, you, myself, and our 2 oldest daughters fall victim to getting car sick quite easily.
Yeah.
You haven't gotten car sick in here yet, so that's a testament to its smoothness. But more importantly, like our 2 older girls, been taking them to school, and they're on their iPads and tablets, whatever. They haven't gotten car sick at all.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That means like this car is supremely smooth, and you're like, it's just really easy to drive smoothly as well. Cassie, you wanted to talk about the back seat?
Oh yes, I was gonna say, well, you can only really fit 2 comfortably in car seats in the back.
Yeah, probably.
Just fine. It's easy to put them in, which is really nice.
It is easy to put them in. Yep.
At a good level. Or it's easy to climb in too. Some cars are difficult to climb in for little kids. This one Maggie was able to.
Yeah, Maggie is able to climb into it. The floor is kind of high. So when I was putting the kids in earlier this morning, my shoe got like it clipped the bottom door sill.
Oh, interesting.
And like I kind of fell into the car.
Oh my god.
Because like it kind of has multi layers. So like there's the painted layer, which when in your peripherals you see that as the floor. And I love like this panel roof. It just brings so much light into here. The kids love it. They love seeing the clouds, the birds, and a panel roof that's this big in a car of this class is pretty impressive. But you do pay for it. So I guess we can summarize the Compass here, talking about the value. How this is equipped at $42,000 or so. I just like it's solid. It's a solid vehicle, but you still get the engine and this touchscreen, and you can get this amazing sound system and panel roof for about $35,000 with like the Latitude and the Latitude Luxe trims with the optional packages on top of it. So that would be the route I would be going if I would be getting it. But all comes down to what kind of deal you can get also at the dealership. Maybe they have good incentives on this grade, or financing options to make this good. And we're getting to the point now where sticker prices here in spring of 2023, you can get cars under MSRP now. It's starting to happen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it depends on the make and the model, etc. But it's starting to happen. So keep your eyes peeled for a deal on the Jeep Compass. And I don't feel like it's lacking in any way. Like,
yeah, what would you compare this one to? Like,
it's hard to say because it feels smaller than like a CR-V or a RAV4.
Yeah.
But it sits higher than something like an HR-V or a Corolla Cross. Its powertrain is more comparable to the bigger vehicles with 200 horsepower, even though the interior does feel on the smaller end, but you sit up high. So it fits in both segments, especially with its price tag in the low 40s, but it starts in the low 30s as well. But like I'm saying, around $35,000, that's the best value in my opinion if you're buying this. But there's also lease deals on specific grades that kind of muddy the water in terms of just straight recommendations. But cute Jeep styling, standard all-wheel drive now, good power and torque, better transmission than before, better tech than before. Like, it's there's nothing bad for me to say other than it is kind of small, but it kind of floats between segments. So yeah, it's a good car. You asked me earlier if this would be a good college car. Maybe if you can get a screaming lease deal on it, but I think the Renegade would probably be a less expensive college car. Yeah, this is more, I would say, a upscale subcompact crossover, maybe for small families or young professionals. So I don't know, demographics, you know. All right, guys, signing out from the Jeep Compass. Thanks to Jeep for sending me my first Jeep. It's crazy looking at a steering wheel that says Jeep. It's exciting. It's a big part of the American culture, a big part of just America in general. Going from World War II to today, like, it's a big part of the identity of America. So it's cool to have Jeep on the channel, and I'm actually pretty impressed here with this fully loaded red edition Compass. All right, I got to cut myself off. I tend to ramble a bit, as you guys know. Have a great day. There's a beautiful yellow Wrangler right there. We would be if we were getting a Wrangler, it'd be like orange or yellow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got to cut it off. See you guys. Peace. Thanks, Cass.
Yeah.